What I'd like to do is bring on our next guest here in studio. We're going to be talking about creating value for multifamily investors by looking beyond the rents and expenses. I'm bringing in Sam Grossman for that. You may not have met him yet, but you'll spend some time with him here in just a moment. He's in the studio with us. And, you know, a lot of what we just talked about with Craig leads into finding other unique, innovative ways to get to the yields without just, raising rents and things like that. So let me just do a quick introduction on Sam, and we'll go right to the interview. So Sam joined Inveniam in a 2021, as a managing director of real estate services, right? Before Inveniam, he founded Fairchild Acquisitions in 2018, and he's a company managing partner. So he has 20 years of experience in residential and commercial real estate, and you're going to see why we brought him in to talk to you today. He's in development, value add opportunities, management, brokerage, you name it. He's somebody that when we spent time with him, we thought we've got to bring him in to share time with you. So Sam, welcome in.
Thank you. I hope I do that introduction justice. So thank you for that.
No, I appreciate the acknowledgement too of what's happening in around the world. That's important. I know too. You're building companies and you use people to impact the world. So.
Yeah, it's it's something that you never really want to wake up to in the morning. Mm-hmm. We woke up this morning and saw the news, and don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think it's important in this day and age that that peace and love goes a long way. Right. And just sending our prayers and thoughts on behalf of our company, on behalf of myself, on behalf of my family. Just hope that a peaceful resolution comes quickly.
Yes, agreed. All right, so talk to us a little bit. I've anchored the conversation around efficiency in our business. Let's just open up with that. Like, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, Craig was great at providing some great transitions to what we're going to talk about. What really resonated, pretty much everything he said resonated, right? I mean, when I've never met him before, but when he talks, you have a hard time not just writing down everything that he said. But I think that a couple points I just wanted to touch on. The conversation about surrounding yourself with smarter people. Right. I did a project my freshman year in high school, my consumer economics class, and a wonderful man, mentor of mine, Phil Cohn, told me, Sam, if I'm going to teach you one thing, he said, it's okay to be the dumbest man in the room. He said, surround yourself with the smartest people. Do what you're good at, but get someone better to do what you're not good at. And I think that, as we talk about leaders and running companies and operators, in today's world, it's more important now than ever. When you're trying to differentiate yourself, it's okay to accept that you're not good at something. Right. And it's okay to lean on someone else who knows something better than you do. I think that, our founder and CEO, Pat O'Meara, is one of the smartest people I ever met. But he'll be the first one to tell you that, what I bring to our organization in no way is a weakness, but let's just say it's not as strong as everything else. Whereas from the technology standpoint, I know that I'm not as strong as he is. And that's truly, in my mind, what makes a great organization, and is really the only way to create innovation. Real estate is all about innovation, always has been, always will be. Looking at, in the simplest form, looking at a piece of dirt and being able to envision value in it and the end product and what you see. So from getting to from a point A to point B in creation and innovation, it's no longer just about increasing rents and decreasing operating expenses. Right. Our technology in Inveniam it really helps innovate. It helps provide real value with real data, and allows you to be more efficient and agile in making decisions. What COVID really did to our marketplace, as I see it, is it made transparency more important. Our investors not only wanted information, But they wanted more information, and they wanted real information, real values on real data, real communication on credentialed information. That's what Inveniam does. We extract information, we credentialize it on the blockchain, and that way you know this is the golden copy. This is the income statement. This is the rent roll, and that level of transparency, gets to, again, another point that Craig was making.
Yeah.
Four Seasons. What does Four Seasons do? Well, Four Seasons provides a level of service that they believe they can charge more because they're the best at what they do, right? You go to a Four Seasons, from the moment you walk in, you know you're getting top of the line service. Well, I feel like Inveniam can create the Four Seasons of communication, of transparency. And transparency, really creates trust. That investor will not only trust and believe in you, but want to stay with you because that's how you're going to differentiate yourself to others, right? I mean, everyone can talk about multifamily value add, right? You buy a building, you fix it up, you release it, and you sell it. But through that process, how did you do something different than everyone else? How did you stand out? And I'm here to tell you today, technology is one of those ways you can stand out because technology allows you to act quicker, make more efficient, effective decisions based on real data, right? I'm not talking about...
And it's not only the acquisition decision.
Correct.
I mean, Craig even talked about like the role of the CEO, deploying the capital, running the business. I mean, you got to look ahead, but also this data. So traditionally, you're mentioning like the Four Seasons of technology and even communications around investments. Historically, you had to be a big operation to have something like that, right? So what does this do for, I don't want to say the littler shop, but like the person doesn't have 8 analysts on a team?
You're good. You're good. You're hitting on it. I mean, that's really what.
Well, there's also a lot of the larger, like for example, you and I, we drive certain cars. You have an iPhone, an Apple. You see Super Bowl commercials. There's brands that are massive in our world, but then if you look at what drives GDP, it's all these small companies that we don't even know about in these small cities all around the country that, in the cumulative, make things happen. Real estate's very much the same. They're small. I mean, I meet people. I've been in this business 20 years, and I meet people, and I'm like, you have 18,000 units? I've never. Where have you been hiding? And it's, some attorneys got together, and they just have this portfolio. They don't attend events. They don't do all those things. They don't have a team of analysts and things like that. So how does that, I guess, support?
Yeah, no, it's that's sort of my own my whole MO with Inveniam. I was a client first of Inveniam, and what I was trying to accomplish was institutional investment. How to go from family and friends investors to institutional capital partners. And I was struggling with that because at the end of the day, they're looking at me like, oh, this little, developer in Chicago. And it comes down to the information that you're providing them. And in Inveniam, I believe that we provide institutional level reporting to make any operation, large or small, feel like you have an apex of the world as your asset manager because we're providing that detail, that granular detail on reporting, on information. So to me, we are helping, and that's really what blockchain in real estate, tokenization in real estate, that's, to me, it's sort of like, I think we were talking about it earlier, it's like the handicap in golf. It equals, it's the equalizer to the playing field. So now all of a sudden, a developer in Boise, Idaho, can come on the Inveniam platform, provide institutional level reporting, and tap into markets and capital that he was never able to achieve because A, he didn't have that level of granular reporting, It wasn't automated. He couldn't provide, it was too expensive from an overhead standpoint. When you're trying to, manage expenses, it's different, for a Goldman Sachs of the world to have an entire floor to provide reporting. But when you're a 3 or 4 man shop, you don't have that kind of money to spend on it. That's where we come in. And I think that the more, you hit on it. It's not just about the big guys. It's not like it's the zipper industry where, YKK has 99% and there's 100 other companies fighting for that 1%. Real estate, that breakdown, that percentage gap, I believe, is shrinking. And I believe with innovators like ourselves and other firms that are out there, CrowdStreet is another great example. You can raise money and touch investors, even if you're in Boise, Idaho, that live in New York, that live in Florida, that live overseas, and that's what it's all about, right? I mean, the more capital that is deployed to a diversified portfolio, to a diversified group of operators, the better the market is going to be, the quicker we'll be able to innovate and change this market.
And is that, and I may be wrong on this, but also in some of the investor reports, they lead questions, like you need interpretation. If you have this more broader, transparent, more people having access to make these investments, should these reports provide more useful information for these investors that may not have grown up in the industry? Because if you're a credit investor, right? I mean, you probably got to some level of success. Maybe you've been in multifamily deals before. You know what a variance report is and what the leading indicators are and things like that. But does your platform allow others to see things that otherwise investors would have to get on a call and extract?
Yes, it does, and nothing is ever going to replace the conversation, right? You're still going to have the investor calling you and saying, "Hey Sam, what's up with this? Tell me about this." But what we provide is a level of granularity. So, take for example a capital distribution. So, with our platform, you'll get an investor statement that says, Joe Schmo is getting a distribution of $200,000 in, ABC LLC Fund 3. And you'll be able to click on that and pull up the calculation that went into that number, and you'll be able to click down and see your specific calculation. So if you invested $100,000, you'll be able to click and bring up the exact calculation. Click on that calculation, and it takes you to the highlighted part of the capital stack in the operating agreement. To me, that's as transparent as you can get. Now, not every investor across the world wants that much information, but in this day and age, more the merrier. Let them decipher what they want to see and what they don't. We're just providing you that optionality. And to me, yes, that is, you want to know what you want to know when you want to know it, right? That's just the world that we live in, whether it's social media or LinkedIn. And we met each other through LinkedIn. 5 years ago, I took a break from LinkedIn. But we're in a day and age today that everyone wants what they want when they want it, and it's now.
Right.
And so the quicker you can deliver accurate, transparent, granular detail on that information, to me, that's a win. Yeah. That's how you're going to differentiate yourself.
And what can people do with that information on the operations side to get the deals quicker, analyze deals faster? How do you create how do you create those efficiencies in the business so then you're finding money, I guess? Yeah.
So the toughest thing for a smaller owner operator like myself is competing with larger fund-like structures, REITs, that can, give a cash offer, make a decision quicker. At least that's what they'll tell you, right? So the underwriting part, we can help with that also. It's having all the information that you need at your disposal when you need it to quickly cipher through, run it through your model, and act quickly. Today's real estate market, if you hesitate, you lose the deal. At the same time, I'm not telling you to rush your decision, right? You don't want to be the guy who rushes a decision, buys a bad deal just so you got it, and then you got to deal with that.
Well, you get the ideal off market. You're having
Right.
dinner, and now you have somebody interested in. Oh, I'm interested in that portfolio. And now you go back to your team, and they scramble for
Right.
months or days.
Right. What we can do for you is that there's no scrambling. I'm not saying that you still want to make an educated decision, of course, but let's also be honest. Off market is what's off market.
Right.
Everything's off market. It's the key word of our market these days. Oh yeah, this deal's off market. I can't tell you.
It's the story.
I can't tell you the last PPM I saw that didn't start with off market deal. But the true off-market deals, absolutely, we can allow you to cipher through the data, get it into your model, and make a decision quicker.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned the word platform. What's the difference between platform and ecosystem to you, and why does that even matter?
Well, I think platform is part of the ecosystem. Pat talks about the ecosystem as a three-legged stool. Well, the platform is one of those. So without a platform, it's, to me, a platform, the inputs are all the same, right? No matter, whether you're using RealPage, Yardi, AppFolios of the world, the inputs are all the same. It's real estate. It's rents, it's expenses. Expenses are made up of, maintenance, administrative, operational, utilities.
Right.
It's the outputs that are different. And to me, the platform is what creates those outputs. The ecosystem is what you do with those outputs. So, if you have observable data, and you're able to export or create an output of a real value based on observable data for a private market asset that otherwise would not have had a real-time valuation. If you have a real-time valuation, if you use our platform makes you sale ready. The due diligence package is one click away. If you go to sell your asset, you're literally giving, with one click, you're giving access to the entire due diligence package, which takes months usually in a deal. So we're going to shrink the timeline that it takes to not only put an offer in, but also to close on a deal. But if you're always sale ready and you're prepping to tokenize, tokenization obviously being that next step, right? One of the outputs, and then there's the DeFi, right? So those are the three legs of the stool. The platform is just a key part of that. So if you have the real-time value, then the value of the token in the secondary market if you're going to trade. So then you're talking about the ecosystem. It's Inveniam's the platform. You got companies like Tokeny, who we have a strategic partnership with, who they're going to issue that token. And then you got groups like Oasis Pro Markets that are going to go ahead and sell that token. So that's the ecosystem, right? Now you got the DeFi, which is going to create the capital liquidity to fund the whole thing. So the macro, the big picture is the ecosystem, the legs of the stool, one of them being the platform.
Yeah, and who needs to know this right now? Because you're out ahead of most, and I guess in this discussion, right? So why is this important to a developer operator today?
Well, the reason why I was a client first is because I thought it was important for me to know. As an owner-operator, you're always looking to differentiate yourself. There's a lot of ways you can differentiate yourself, both good and bad. I think it's important to know these things now because, like any new technology, any new innovation to doing business that's been done, let's be honest, in real estate, is one of the pillars of, America, and not to mention, the world economy. It's important to educate yourself first. Don't jump just because you're excited because it's a new innovation. I spent the last year going to conferences and talking to people of all different walks of life. Guys who own 50 units to guys who own 50,000 units. Education is what we've been talking about for the last year. Learn, listen, and know that there is the right way and the wrong way to be transparent. There's the right way and the wrong way to innovate. I want to be on the right side. You know, Inveniam's on the right side. We feel that we're doing things the right way. We don't want to own your data. We don't want to create this vast database of information so we can monetize your data. I'd say that we're like Facebook in one way and one way only, to be very clear. We allow the client to update their own profile. Right? You go on Facebook, you're updating your own profile. You know, you go to the park, you tell everyone in the world about it. But we don't want to know,
right.
You know, we don't want to take that park
right.
And your age and your name and your demographic. We don't want that. What we want is to provide transparency the right way. We're going to extract that data. We're going to credential that data at its place of rest. We'll come in and credential it on your own system, so we don't even take it onto ours. I can't say the same for others in the space. And so, you know, tokenized, tokenization, you know, it's a hot topic right now. Everyone wants to talk about it. Just do your homework.
Yeah.
Do your homework. That's all I got to say.
Right. And I guess is this how we move from more reaction management? Or do you feel like we're more in the reaction mode than proactive?
You know, I think COVID created a reactive environment. You know, it was, okay, here's a pandemic. Like, no one prepares for a pandemic. Like, I wasn't sitting in my underwriting or as part of my operating agreement or signing my loan document saying, okay, what's the pandemic? You know, what's it say about that?
I have a plan for that.
Right. So, you know, we had no choice, you know, 2 years ago, but to be reactive. I feel differently now. Let's learn from that reactive. Let's turn the tables. Let's be proactive. And I think that the more data, the more communication, the more transparency allows you to be proactive. I'm not saying I'm going to predict the next pandemic, because I'm not. Right? It goes back to surround yourself with people smarter than you. That's right. We'll leave that to Fauci, right? I mean, I'm not looking to predict that. But what I will say is that I think it's more important today than ever in being proactive in your approach. And the only way to be proactive is having real-time data, so you can make efficient, effective decisions to execute your game plan and be prepared for the if, ands, or buts. But the only way that you can be prepared is if you have that information in real time in front of you, so that you can make that decision.
Do people feel that they already have that, or what's the gap here?
You know, I think that people do feel that they have it. You know, you don't know what you don't have until you have it. I don't know, that was a lot of words squished together there, but you know, you don't know how good a report can be until you see another variation of it.
Right.
So I think in real estate, especially, you know, multifamily.
Well, it's like Tesla. They built this ecosystem of charging stations, and so you're paying for fuel. You're going from place to place. So it's like miles per gallon. Well, the car will tell you that before they make the assumptions of what they are, and then there's what actually your driving conditions are. But they have apps where you can actually know the different energy rates and all of those things, and it's like the customer didn't know that they had that available to them until they got into the right vehicle that brought data forward. Yeah, I mean,
I'll make a different. I think Tesla's a great analogy, but I'll make a different one. Who knew how good GPS could be until Waze came out? Right? I was driving here this morning. I don't know Scottsdale very well, so I use Waze. And Waze told me halfway through the route to take a right. It adjusted the route. Well, I'm assuming it was because there was an accident or a police stopped somebody. But my point is, 5, 6, 7 years ago, would you ever have thought, unless you're Elon Musk, or Pat O'Meara for that matter, would you ever thought that technology could be that good? Right. So that you could be that proactive and that prepared to actually make a decision that is going to allow you to get from point A to point B.
Right.
What I'm saying is, now you can. And don't be complacent with the reports that you have because you think that it's all you need. You don't know what you need until you see what innovation can do for you. Don't.
What does this look like? What happens? You have a team that gets in there, implements. What's it look like after they start working with you, I guess?
I'd happy to give you a demo one day and show it to you. But you know, the long and the short is that it's gathering and extracting data. You get a products team solution, one of our guys from that team, to walk you through the process. At that point, we use one of our valuation providers to provide a full appraisal. Again, you know, our automation of our platform, what it's done is that same appraiser that was taking 6 weeks to do an appraisal. I mean, we've all lived through appraisals, right? The emails never stop. Oh, no, I need this, I need this. Right. You get the checklist, and there's always still things that are left on the checklist. Right. We solve that for you. It's one whole process. Then you get, you know, a real-time valuation, you get a full appraisal, and even that appraisal, you know, we're talking about granular detail. You can click on any one of those summaries. I mean, appraisal is 152 pages. When was the last time that I looked at more than 10 of them? Right, 15 on a good day. So we create an extraction of a summary of that and allow you to click. You know, it's all about clicking, right? It's one click away. I like to say that, you know, we're the one-stop shop for one clicks. You want this, it's one click away. And then on an ongoing, you know, once you have that baseline valuation, on a quarterly basis, we're going to pull real-time financials, you know, share it with the valuation provider, give you an updated valuation. So you're going to have real-time valuation 365 days a year.
Does that help operators realize the decisions they're making too? Like, wow, we've actually increased the value of this by, because you do the math, you just cap it out, your expenses and the reductions and.
Right, you look at it, you take the cap rate, and then a broker comes in and says, no, it's a 5.25 cap. But again, I think that we're just making the entire process, the entire ecosystem more efficient. We're not replacing brokers. Brokers are very valuable. Nobody knows a market like a broker. That's just the way it is. They have more information, more valuable information about valuation than probably anyone out there. What we're going to do is we're going to enhance that for them. You know, we can enhance that process. We don't look to replace. There's parts along this process that have been put in place years ago, whether it's the broker, the mortgage provider, the appraiser, the inspector. They still need to do their work. What we're going to do is we're just going to automate and compile and extract all that data into a functioning document that the owner can click through quickly and make a decision. Now, whether that decision is to sell or rehab, or, you know, maybe we could have done this rehab differently, maybe we could have spent less money and still gotten the same value. Again, at the end of the day, it's transparency, it's efficiency.
What should and I've got time for, I think, one question here.
That's it?
I know.
Man.
We
could talk for hours.
I know we could.
I'll come back tomorrow.
There'll probably be a follow-up on this too, I think. What do you think is, what should I be asking I'm not asking? If a lot of this is you don't know what you don't know until you see it.
I would say if you're out there listening to this, if you're seeing this, and we've piqued any interest at all, reach out. Learn about it. Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's happening now. Blockchain, tokenization, technology is making innovations to the real estate world. We're bringing transparency to private market assets that have never had transparency before. So if you're a mom and pop shop in Boise, Idaho, reach out. We can help you. This isn't just it's not just a sales call. It's not a sales pitch. Like I said, I was a client first. The platform's real. The technology is real. And the innovation's real. So the time is now. Don't wait. Because if you wait, your competitor is going to jump on board. And then where are you going to be? The first people to jump on and to acknowledge and accept that this innovation really is the future of real estate, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of the competition.
Right, right.
That's really what it's all about.
And what are those? Who are those conversations happening with right now? Is it the operators, developers, analyst teams?
You know, we're talking with you name it. You know, any part of that ecosystem. We're talking to lenders. We're talking to hard money lenders. We're talking to community banks. We're talking to construction companies that GCs that want to take this to back to the operators that they work for. You know, at the end of the day, transparency is not a bad thing. Trust is not a bad thing. So, you know, if you can create efficiency, trust, transparency, better data, better valuation, I don't think any one of those 5 things are a bad thing. I don't think any one of those things don't improve the industry that we're in.
Yeah. When you were we were wrapping from Craig, what got you excited about? What were our final remarks there?
He started talking about carbon credits. I was very impressed that that's where he went with ESG. You know, ESG is another one of those hot topics everyone wants to talk about. You know, you got the big CEOs of the world. You know, whether it's BlackRock, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, they all want to talk about ESG. Inveniam wants to talk about carbon credits. We want to talk about how we can, through our platform, we're doing it right now. Craig loved to talk to you about carbon credits. But I just think that so many things that Craig said were so pertinent to today's market. And, you know, it's differentiation. How can you differentiate yourself to your competitor? Because at the end of the day, it's an asset. We're creating value. We're enhancing value of an asset. So it's bricks and mortar. Even if it's new construction, it's still bricks and mortar. So how can you differentiate yourself? My answer is innovation. I think Craig's answer would be the same. You know, I loved that he said, don't be afraid to ask. Surround yourself with smarter people. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay to have humility and know what you're good at and know what you're not. And you know, that's what it's all about to me. Yeah. And if technology can help, if you can lean a little bit, not just on others, but also technology along the way, it's going to differentiate you in the end.
This has been awesome. I'd love to, and thank you for coming in. I know it's a long trip for you, but and we got some rain for you.
I know. I was hoping for warm weather, but cold weather seems to be following me these days.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, this has been awesome. How can people get in touch with you? Anything we can leave them with?
Inveniam.io, LinkedIn, Sam Grossman. We got a huge conference coming up in Miami, Data 3.0 for Web 3.0. You can see the details through my LinkedIn or Inveniam's website. Look forward to seeing all you there. Hopefully, maybe you can come. Yeah. And look forward to many more conversations. I do enjoy talking with you. I feel like I could really go on for hours. But thank you for having me and spending the time. And you know, I'll just leave you with this. You know, technology is not a bad thing. And the only way to innovate and to grow an industry, in my opinion, is through adopting technology the right way.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome.